The Wildcat Sports Club CNY Brewfest is coming up January 31st and February 1st at the New York State Fairgrounds. Taste your way through unlimited samples from more than 100 breweries. Now featuring hard ciders, seltzers, craft cocktails, and mocktails too. Grab your tickets now at cnybrewfest.com.
You know what I love, Steve? Being a jerk.
Listen, dude, we've been doing a show for 90 minutes.
I had a chance to listen to the last call. We game plan for PJ Hall.
Uncle.
I have a list of guys I would never hang out with. Your name is right on the top.
Do you like the worst song bracket we're doing?
It's considerably better than the supplement bracket. Let's start with that.
I won a limbo contest.
Oh, my God.
Fran Brown joining us.
These guys are working their butts off. They expect to see their fans.
You want extra money just because you're North Carolina? I'm in all right
What
now.
an honor for you and Jordan to be next to me.
Every day.
This is Orange Nation.
There's music, there's fun, there's us. It's everything you could want all in one place.
With Stephen Fonte and Paulie Sibilia.
Good afternoon, everyone. Glad to have you with us. Stephen Fonte, Paulie Sibilia with you up until 2 o'clock as we get you set for Syracuse and Clemson. Etan Thomas will join us in hour number 1. Don Munson, voice of the Clemson Tigers, to kick off hour number 2. Plus, we'll mix in your phone calls throughout at 315-437-7644. I am here in Syracuse. Paulie is on the road in South Carolina. He joins us now from his hotel room. Paulie, always great to hear from you. How are things?
Good. Greenville is on a 2-hour delay right now, so we are having an inch of snow, and everything's in chaos down here.
Is it cold?
It's freezing.
It must be.
Yeah,
freezing.
Polar vortex, I believe.
Yeah, I can't imagine it can't be colder than it is here. Brutal temperatures here. So I saw the point spread last night. I was getting ready to do the 11 o'clock show on News Channel 9. I was like, I wonder what the spread is. It must be out by now. And I Googled it, and I saw a large number, and I was like, that can't be right. And so I Googled a different site, and it was right. 15.5 is the number I saw to open. Were you surprised by that? Because, you said the other day, you asked me, and you asked for the last game against Notre Dame, and we were pretty close. I thought this might be like 9.5, like right around 10. 15.5. Did that surprise you, Paulie?
Yeah, I was at 8.5. I would think they're going to cover tonight, but I don't know. But that's a lot of spread, man, and I don't know. They're middle of the pack, right?
Clemson?
No. Syracuse, right?
Yeah.
Does everybody look at Syracuse like differently than you would? Like, does everybody have the perception that this is Kenny Payne-esque right now?
Well, I don't know about that, but I do know, like, we just saw them play a really good team last week at home, and they got crushed. And so this is on the road in a place where Syracuse traditionally has not played well against a team that's got it rolling right now. Clemson's 7-1 in the conference. Their only loss was on the road at Louisville. They've got 4 losses on the season. They lost at Louisville. They lost overtime games to Memphis and South Carolina, and they lost early in the year at Boise State. And other than that, they've won everything. They beat Kentucky. They came back over the weekend. They blew a big lead and then rallied and won in overtime against Pittsburgh on the road at Pittsburgh. This is a really good team, and so I don't know. We just saw Syracuse go up against a team that I think is comparable to Clemson in Louisville last Tuesday, and it did not go well. So, did Syracuse have an off night? Maybe. But I think, Louisville showed that there is a gap, certainly, between the better teams in this conference and Syracuse. And, Clemson fits in that category as well. That, this feels like it's a mismatch going into tonight.
We'll find out. Like, Shefflin has cooked, as they would say, against Syracuse. And Syracuse has never had someone the size of Jair Davis on them, though, either. Like, they had Quadir Copeland guarding him last year.
Yeah, right. And, we hear in our open every single day, Adrian Autry talking about, game planning for PJ Hall. They don't have to, game plan for both of those guys anymore. Now there's only one of them in Shefflin, but, Chase Hunter is obviously a very good player as well. And, this team is well constructed. They get after you defensively, which we've seen Syracuse, especially on the road there at Clemson. They have struggled with Clemson's physicality. It has disrupted their offensive flow. We'll have to see if they're better equipped tonight with the ball in JJ's hands to handle that. But we've seen in past years that, Clemson will get up on you defensively, and how do you handle that? And Syracuse in recent years has not handled it well.
Yeah, JJ cannot do what he did against Louisville, against the defense that Clemson throws at him. And also, when you look at the 15, is there that much between the haves and have-nots in the ACC? You've got to see whether Syracuse is now bought in on defense. Was that a wake-up call? Hey, if we can hold, you're not going to hold everybody to 20-some-odd points and a half, but look, if you play defense, you can win games. And I wonder if that kind of sunk in finally after the Notre Dame game.
It may have, and I think you and I are on the same page with, yes, I know it was just Notre Dame, but we saw a stark difference with how the team played from the first half to the second half, and you wonder if, to your point, Paulie, if the light bulb went off in that second half, because how did they get back into it? They got more physical on both ends of the court, not just on defense, but on offense as well, but especially defensively. They got more physical. They got stops. They got good shots at the other end, and they're going to need to carry that over. And you wonder if, we've talked about this throughout the year, that sometimes guys, and especially the younger guys, they may think they're playing hard, but they don't know because this is their first taste of college basketball. Now you're midway through the season, and I wonder if that second half against Notre Dame, maybe something did click. I think that's what SU fans have to hope for, that they saw, okay, this is what the results can be if, we get after it defensively, and if we get more physical, and if we box out and we get on the floor and we do the little things that we've been calling for from this team for the last several weeks. We saw it in the second half. And they're going to need to package it up because they're going to have to be physical tonight, I think, just to stay in this game, let alone win it. Let's set aside the win this game. Just to be competitive in this game, they can't back down. They've got to be physical. They've got to get on the glass. They've got to get on the floor. And hopefully, there will be some carryover from what we saw on Saturday against Notre Dame.
And you know what also happened in the Notre Dame game that hasn't really happened before is more than two guys in the game knocked down shots. It was Chapa hit a couple. It doesn't have to be all of them, but just hit a couple of them. Chapa hits, Jair hit some, Eddie scored. So, it forced them to guard someone other than JJ.
Well, right, and you said, you can't see tonight what happened last week with JJ, and part of that was, Louisville made a concerted effort, and I know everybody's making a concerted effort to take him out of the game. Some teams are more equipped to do that than others. Louisville, obviously, is equipped to make that happen. I happen to think Clemson is one of those teams that can make that happen. So if they shut down JJ or limit him to the point where, he only took 7 shots against Louisville. Let's say he only takes 10 shots tonight because of the way they're defending him. Can other guys step up? That obviously did not happen against Louisville, and that's been one of SU's issues this year, right? Has been consistent scoring across the board. JJ's been there for the most part, but if he's not there, like against Louisville, they made life miserable on him that night. Who else can beat you? Who else can step up? And I think going into the season, we thought that the answer to that question was Chris Bell. Or maybe Donnie Freeman. Donnie Freeman is not there because of injury, and Chris Bell, I don't know. I don't know what to expect tonight in terms of how many minutes he's going to play. Are we going to see him early? Do you have a feel for that, Paulie? You're on the road with the team. I don't know if you were at the shoot around yesterday or whatnot, but do you have a feel for how much we might see Chris Bell tonight?
I have no idea. I don't think the team got in on time last night. I have not even seen them. So the weather in both towns kind of slowed everything down. So, but I haven't even seen anybody. So it's just a matter of if he knocks down a shot or not. It's crazy. We could all write a scouting report for him. If he hits his first shot, get out on him. I would let him shoot the first one though, and did go from there.
I guess the reason I bring it up is we discussed on the show kind of that I don't know, should we call it an incident from Saturday, the whole Kyle Cuff thing, and he had kind of a meltdown, a little temper tantrum on the court, and then Adrian Autry took him out of the game, and we did not see him again. Do you think there will be carryover from that?
No.
Or do you think it's over and done with and forgotten, and all is well? They won the game, and he's fine, and everybody's good to go tonight.
We know who Chris Bell is. It's not the first time he's done that.
Sure.
Okay. That's who he is. And I think you're going to see the same treatment of him.
All right. Well, you're right then. I mean, if he gets his normal minutes, it comes down to, does he make a shot or two early to get invested in the game? And they could use him. And that's what I'm saying is this is one of those games that if they take JJ away or limit him, I mean, you're not going to totally shut down JJ, but if you limit him, who else can score enough on this team to make this a close game, I guess is my question. And, coming into the year, Chris Bell was at the top of the list. We assumed Donnie Freeman would be at or near the top of that list. Choppa Moore, early in the season, we thought he would be at or near the top of the list. And all of those guys, for various reasons, have kind of, fallen by the wayside. So, I ask you, Paulie, who is that guy? If JJ is limited tonight in terms of, the amount of shot attempts because Clemson does a nice job locking him up, who is that guy that you're looking for to make shots to keep this a close game?
Well, Chris Bell is obviously my choice, but Chapo would be nice if he could knock down a couple shots like he did last game. He's got to defend, though. He struggled against Notre Dame on the defensive side. But, yeah, Bell and Choppa are your two other options right now.
Right, and you just named two guys who have been wildly inconsistent. Probably the two most inconsistent players on the team, right? And I think that is the issue, and I think that is, one of the issues. I think that is why you're seeing a 15.5-point spread, is that I don't know if there is faith, across the board in this team to score enough to keep this a close game, because that Clemson's going to get after you defensively. And, can Syracuse, do you feel confident saying Syracuse can score 70 points in this game? I don't know.
It depends.
What do you think?
It depends. Do you remember in the BC game, BC gets up on you too, and JJ was able to, they would set picks for him and he would get downhill towards the end of that game and nobody could stop him on the way to the basket. Yeah. If he's able to get by his defender, they can. If it's all on it, is the whole season hinges on JJ Starling.
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're right, and that's why things went south against Louisville, because they did a nice job saying, all right, he is not going to beat us, and they had they had the defenders to take him out of his normal game. And again, just took 7 shots, which was a season low. He hasn't taken less than that in more than a calendar year. If Clemson is able to do something to that effect, I don't know. I feel like JJ is going to have to go off against good teams, or they don't have much of a shot. I mean, right? I mean, is it as simple as that? That's kind of how it feels to me.
Yeah, you got to guard him, and Eddie's got to play. That's another thing. I see in our chat and on social media that he should play less. He's got to play, and he's got to play like he did against Notre Dame in the second half. He's got to be standing in front of the basket. He's got to, he's not going to block shots, but he's just got to be between the offensive guy in the basket. Everybody's got to play, and I don't know how many more times we can break this team down. It's going to take. There's zero room for margin with this team when winning a basketball game.
You're right, and you hate to put so much on JJ, but you look at this stretch, right? They've won 3 of their last 4. In the 3 wins, he scored 21, 26, 21. In the 1 loss, he's limited. He's 1 for 7 from the field, and held to single digits. You're right about Eddie Lampkin. Especially with Donnie out, they need him to rebound. And he's, 7 of his last 8 games, he's hit for double-digit rebounds, and he's got a bunch of double-doubles in a row. And it was an impactful double-double, the way he especially played in the second half. And I thought, we talk about the physicality. He was a big part of that physicality, that they really stepped it up on that end. Offensively, they fed him, they fed Jair Davis, and good things happened. They had the 3 guards on the floor at the same time. I don't know that they can get away with that lineup tonight, Paulie. The Cuff, Carlos, and JJ lineup. It worked against Notre Dame. I don't think that's going to work against everybody. I don't think it's going to work against Clemson. But, Adrian Autry did pull the right strings in that second half. They got the win, and we'll have to see if he can pull the right strings tonight. But it's a tall order, because I feel like for Syracuse to even be in this game, I think JJ's got to score 20 plus, right? I mean, that's just the way it feels. With Donnie out, I mean, we assume Donnie's not going to play. We haven't gotten official word on that. I assume he's out again. JJ's got to score 20 or more just for them to keep this thing interesting, right?
I don't know. I would say I would put it more at 15 and then just hope anybody else is scoring. I don't know why I got Jair Davis stuck in my head this game. Like, I hope he just eats up the chef.
Well, we'll see. I mean, Ian Shefflin's a heck of a player. They've got 3 guys averaging in double figures. We forget about Jaden Zachary on that team. Chase Hunter, we all know about. He's played well against the Orange. So this is a really good quality opponent that they're seeing tonight. And, I think that Clemson and Louisville, for me anyway, are in the running as who's next in line after Duke. Is it Louisville? I mean, Louisville just went out and smashed SMU last night on the road. I think Louisville, you look at Louisville's schedule, this is kind of like an aside. You look at Louisville's schedule, if Duke stubs its toe against somebody, and they do have to play North Carolina twice, there's a chance Louisville could win this conference. They may very well win out when you look at the rest of their schedule. I think Louisville's got a chance, but I think Louisville or Clemson probably the second best team in this conference behind Duke.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw the excuse at everybody. If you look at the leaderboard, it's all the high NIL schools.
Yeah, right.
It's crazy that it breaks down.
Wake Forest is the one head scratcher, right? In terms of the NIL anyway, that you would expect Carolina, SMU, Clemson, Louisville, Duke. Wake is kind of the outlier there, but Steve Forbes has done a great job down there, and they knocked off North Carolina last night, a game that the final score maybe wasn't as indicative of, Wake solidly won that game. Carolina made it, interesting in the final seconds there, but Wake Forest is 7-1 in conference play, Clemson 7-1, and Louisville's 8-1. And I tend to think Clemson and Louisville are a little bit better than Wake Forest, but I think outside of those 4 teams, and maybe even throw North Carolina in the mix, I mean, I think those 5 are the NCAA tournament teams, and I don't think this conference is getting more than 5.
No, that's it. Steve, you nailed it.
All right. Why don't we take our first time out here? We'll open it up to the phone lines if you want to check in at 315-437-7644. We've got Etan Thomas coming up at some point here in hour number 1. We are back after this on ESPN Radio.
Water sales and
I
service.
can hear everything going on at the mega desk if I sounded distracted to you guys.
Okay, can you guys turn the mic off, please? Or not guys, but can you turn the mic off, David? Thanks.
Thank you. Nope.
Tom's good for 12:30. Oh, no, he can't.
There we go. It's gone now.
Oh. All right, so in terms of our artist of the day, here's the deal. Paulie asked, he's like, just DJ Jazzy Jeff, not the Fresh Prince? Look, I didn't realize DJ Jazzy Jeff literally did nothing without the Fresh Prince.
Oh, that was why I picked him. So we get the Fresh Prince involved.
So,
but
8 Billboard songs.
It's got to be like the Jazzy Jeff era, though. It can't be like when I think.
Well, they're all the ones with DJ Jazzy Jeff, and I got as many of Jazzy Jeff's street mixes in there as I could.
Oh, he won DJ of like the year in 1988. He was dope, flying fresh.
Looks like you're gonna have a couple callers on the line, which is solid for timing. So we're just going to have to make a call here. I know you guys like playing I Think I Can Beat Mike Tyson, or at least Paulie does.
What a trash song.
We also have I'm Looking for the One to Be With Me. But those kind of are the two.
Do you have Boom Shake the Room?
Yeah.
That's
I
a
have
banger.
any of them that you know I would have. Or any of them that you would know I have. Oh, just one. Okay.
Boom, Shake the Room. They used to play that at the jukebox when I was at her.
So we pretty much have to pick between, unless there's one you like, Ring My Bell.
That's a good one.
Nightmare on My Street.
Oh, banger.
Girls Ain't Nothing But
Oh,
Trouble.
yeah. They had to redo that song because one of the verses was on PC.
Oh no.
Oh no, you sound concerned.
So
just one of those
I'm
days.
looking for the one to be with me getting knocked out again.
Yes. I don't even know what that trash is.
That's the whole point of this. We're gonna play the same 7 we always play. Hold on.
Do you have just one of those days? Is that what it's called?
I didn't see that one. That was not on the billboard.
Rock the House. He's the DJ. I'm the rapper.
Wait a minute. I'm looking for the one is electric.
No, it's never been electric.
Yes, it is.
Mm-mm.
Can you hear it?
Is Summertime on the list?
Yeah.
Yeah, this sounds exactly like Summertime. No.
Oh, come on, dude. How can you not play that? Clap your hands and wind it up if you're feeling all right.
I'm not feeling all right. Syracuse is a 15-point dog. Am I
Come on.
feeling all
I'm
right?
looking for the one to drop 25 on Clemson. Come on. I guess I think I can beat Mike Tyson is fitting for today, too.
I'm going to go knock the chef hat off all the kids in the stands.
Paulie, in my class today, they anchored for the first time, and one of the students had an LL Cool J reference. And I was like, I didn't even know you guys knew who LL Cool J was.
This, let me guess, don't call it a comeback.
No, he said, well, yeah, it was, I forget how he worded it. He said something.
Must have been great.
It was the Notre Dame game, right?
Well, yeah,
and it was
but
don't
it was,
call it a comeback.
No, he said something like, he weaved it into like JJ. He was like, LL Cool JJ. I forget exactly how he worded it, but it was very clever. I'll have to watch it back.
LL Cool JJ. Okay, I'll give it to him.
Is that Nick or Rick?
That is Nick.
Nick.
LL Cool JJ.
Ladies love him.
All right, we'll do Mike Tyson here.
Ugh.
Creo K Podier. No. I don't know what beat would be. Defeat? No, whatever. Sorry, my Spanish is rusty, everybody. His student said, I'm going to knock you out unless you give me an A.
Welcome back to Orange Nation. Our artist of the day, Jazzy Jeff of Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. Is it his birthday today?
Yes.
Yeah, happy birthday, Jeffrey. This is I Think I Can Beat Mike Tyson. If we're putting the Syracuse versus Clemson game as a I Think I Could Beat Mike Tyson-esque type of defeat, we're in big trouble. Maybe it is rock bottom, Stephen.
I mean, I think they're one of the best teams in this conference. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I would say Mike Tyson is Duke. I don't know if Clemson is Duke or if Clemson is Mike Tyson. I would say Mike Tyson is Duke. But Clemson's not too far behind.
Larry Holmes. Mike Spinks, maybe.
Yeah, this is a team that, they're leading the ACC in three-point shooting percentage. Clemson at 39% from three as a team. Syracuse, just by contrast, less than 30. They're at 29 and change, 17th out of 18 teams in the ACC. Chase Hunter leads the conference in three-point shooting percentage for those who qualify, 45.5%. Shefflin second in the conference in rebounding. Hunter sixth in scoring. You kind of get the idea. Those two guys, are their stars, and they're really good players. This is a really good team, and that is why they're 15.5-point underdogs.
Coach Autry said something interesting after the Notre Dame game, and it kind of made sense, but they fell way behind. We were trying to keep them off the 3-point line and make them take twos, but they hit every single one of their twos, so they fell behind 17. I wonder if that's going to kind of be a strategy here, but you just got to have defensive rotation work if you're going to do that.
Yeah. And then you got to limit them to one shot. Like if Clemson's a great three-point shooting team, but if they miss, you got to get the rebound. You cannot give this team second opportunities because they will make you pay. Let's go to the phone lines. We've got Nick in Syracuse kicking us off on the show today. Hey, Nick.
Hey, what's going on, guys?
How are you
doing?
Good.
I'm doing good. And actually, to that point there, since we've joined the ACC, I've kind of looked at Clemson as a rival. Maybe that just starts with the fact that we're both orange. And it was fun with football season having someone to compare yourself to. But now that Brad Brownell's got the basketball team playing so well, it's not that fun to play Clemson anymore. But I had two quick points. Just wanted to say that it was nice to see Etan Thomas around the program more. I've always kind of felt that we were missing something on the coaching end for our forwards and centers. So I don't know if him being around this program might get him closer to helping out with the team in the future. That might be nice to see. But also just wanted to my second point was, does anyone know where Johnny Flynn is? Because I would love to see him just make a dome appearance so he could get his flowers from the fans since leaving the program. I don't know if he feels like he's in hiding, since the way people talk about him being a draft bust, even though it was kind of injury related. But he was always my favorite player growing up. I'd love to see him back in Syracuse if anyone knows about where he's at. Thanks, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate you checking in. Yeah, he's certainly been flying off the radar. I was going to say under the radar. I think he is completely off the radar. We haven't heard from Johnny Flynn, in quite some time. Talking about this, this series, Paulie, Clemson has had its way with Syracuse down there at Littlejohn. Last trip there last year was a 90-75 win for Clemson. The time before that, 91-73 went to Clemson. The time before that, 78-61. The games have not been close, at Littlejohn. Now, Syracuse has fared well against Clemson here. They are 2-1 against the Tigers in the Dome, but this one's obviously a road game. It's Clemson's 4-0 against the Orange at Littlejohn since the Orange joined the ACC, and obviously heavily favored to move to 5-0 tonight.
Yeah, I know a lot of people don't get to go to games. Clemson's a very difficult environment. It is loud. The crowd is right on top of you. It's a small arena compared to the Dome. It's a tough place to play. And when Syracuse did win there, it was down to the wire, right? I can remember a Tyus battle 3 to win one at the buzzer, and one other close one, I think, is their wins there. So it's a tough place to play.
All right. We are going to take a timeout here. We've got Etan Thomas standing by. Speaking of Etan, we'll step aside. We'll be back with the former SU Star Center. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
From what I've been told, Johnny doesn't want to be found. From everybody I've talked to, Johnny's just laying low, doing his thing.
Yeah, the search for Johnny Flynn was quite the era. How can I get into real estate?
I don't think he's in Niagara Falls doing real estate. Like, he would be easy to find then. You just Google him.
Even if he's not, how do all these people just get into real estate? What do? You pass a test and you find some people who want to buy houses and sell.
Wrong side. Yeah.
Feels doable. You can pass a test.
I like that the caller thinks that Etan coming on with us is going to, by osmosis, make the centers better.
You can get into real estate by purchasing real estate. Well, I'm out.
Govendo said that's not how it works, Jordan. Govendo said you could leave your dead-end job with us.
So I know that's not how it works. I was kind of joking, and I saw what Govendo said. I just wasn't reading it.
No, we can all strive.
Poppy, there's never a bad time to get into real estate. Are you kidding me?
I lost
real estate
audio.
Isn't that easy? Okay, guys, and explain this to me. All these former athletes are either selling real estate or selling software. Like,
I ran into Danya Abrams at the BC game. He's their GM, but he's also a financial advisor.
The financial advisor, that's another one. There's not even that much room in the beanie, dude.
Do you want to become a real estate agent? My brother's one. I could have him teach you. You want to go from getting trained by me to trained by Philip?
I don't really want to do anything.
Oh, that sounds glorious. What's the temperature up there?
Below 10.
Whoa, my poor dog.
Yeah,
Left her outside.
School got canceled.
By yourself.
My daughter, she's doing her student teaching in the city schools, and
They got canceled because it's cold?
Yeah, because once it hits a certain wind chill, you can't have the kids stand out for buses.
Oh my gosh, dude.
So they've had 2 straight cold days back to back.
When I was a kid, we said
Why couldn't I have
-50s.
been a kid when this was a thing?
What'd you say, Paulie?
When I was a kid, it was -50, and they wouldn't let us wear shirts.
Oh, I don't think it's that low. I think
No,
it's,
I'm
I think
trying
the
to be
cutoff
funny,
is like
Steve.
-30 wind chill.
Steve,
Oh, you're saying like you're.
When I was a kid,
I had to walk uphill to school.
yeah,
both ways.
gotcha.
That's what you're saying. I got you.
Satchel Sack gets it. That's the dream, dude. I'm looking for a way to keep my salary but not work anymore. This guy gets
Win
it.
the lottery.
Yeah, get into crypto.
Yeah, Mike B. I think you're right. I think it was is 25 or 35. It was something like that. It's right around there. I want to say it might be 20 now, -20. I don't know, but she didn't have school yesterday or today. Oh yeah, Kevin, how does she like it in the Liverpool school district?
No comedy for me, thanks. When I walked uphill in the winter, both ways, joke went over Steve's head.
I got it eventually. I thought you were being serious for a moment, but I should have known better.
West Hill never had snow days.
These are some great points from the chat.
Jordan only fans. I'd subscribe to that.
Let's do boom, shake the room.
Do we have a time? Okay.
Am I staying on the whole time?
Yeah, participate.
All right. Welcome back, Nation. This song reminds me of my partying days in the early 90s, Steve. This used to play at the clubs. Boom, shake the room.
Is it a good thing or a bad thing that it reminds you of your partying days?
Those are the good old days, right? Those are the days you hold on to, your early 20s.
Sure. Yeah.
And now I'm just boring and sitting in a hotel room.
Talking sports with me for 2 hours. I do want to clarify what I said and make the correction. I totally forgot about the Tyus game winner down at Clemson. So yes, Syracuse has won at Little John. They are 1-6 down there since joining the ACC. 5 of those losses by double digits. So Clemson has certainly dominated that series. So there's a chance, there's a chance. JJ's got to, go Tyus battle. And you remember that game? Wasn't Tyus like deathly sick? Like, didn't he have like a really bad case of the flu for that game? They weren't even sure he was going to play.
And he was like third option on that play also that they run plays on.
Yeah, right. But they don't run an offense. But yes, I do remember that very well. But yeah, Syracuse 1-6 all time at Little John since joining the conference. 5 of those by double digits. 5 of those losses by double digits. All right, as we bring on Etan Thomas to talk more Cuse basketball. And Etan, I guess before we get into Clemson, let's start with what you saw against Notre Dame. And it's a 17-point deficit in the first half, and this team that, there's been a lot of adversity this year. A lot has gone against them. They dig deep, and collectively, I think from the coaches to the players, they collectively put their head down, and they somehow figured it out, and they got a win. I mean, what do you take away from Saturday's performance?
Interesting. I saw some change in coaching strategies that proved to really be successful. And I think a lot of the criticism has been that, people have not seen, an offensive strategy and not seen adjustments being made in games. I know a lot of that comes with losses. When you lose, everybody questions everything. But I saw a few adjustments that were made, especially in that second half, that changed a lot for the game against Notre Dame. The first one was they moved JJ off the ball, and they moved him. They put Carlos at the point and moved him off the ball, and he was able to operate a lot easier, and it just seemed to work. It's one of those things that if it doesn't work, then there's a lot of criticism that comes with it, but that it worked. So there should be acknowledgement that the coach's strategy did work. And I have no problems with people being critical of coaches, no problem at all. But you have to, be a little bit balanced. I think sometimes some of our fans, even though they have a reason to be frustrated with this season, there's a way that you can have a dialogue. But in this instance, that proved to be successful. Now, I will say that I don't think that strategy is going to work tonight because the makeup of Clemson's team is a lot different than the makeup of Notre Dame. They were a smaller backcourt, so I think you could get away with it then. I don't think that that's going to be successful against Clemson. That's just my personal opinion, but it did work. And then I also thought that the adjustment with Cal Cuff, his defense on Burton, especially in that second half, I thought was great. And I thought that he really stepped up to the plate. And, that first half, Burton scored as many points as our entire team. And the second half was a completely different story. But I think those two adjustments, were really key adjustments in the game.
I know you're a big guy, right, Etan, and you always want to see the big guys get involved. I thought another thing that they did was they got more touches for Eddie Lampkin and Jair Davis, especially in that second half. And not that the offense necessarily ran through those guys, but they were kind of running inside out. They were getting touches, they were getting it back out to the perimeter guys, and that it seemed to help with spacing. And Jair Davis made an impact. Eddie Lampkin made an impact. What'd you think about that adjustment, about getting those guys, the big guys, some more touches?
I think it was definitely a concerted effort to do that, and I think they really responded. I think we should be playing inside out, to be honest with you. I think the two bigs have been really consistent and really doing well. And the thing is, Eddie Lampkin can pass the ball out of double teams. He can find open people. He's a willing passer. And Jair Davis has been really well, especially that high post area, being able to operate and dribbling down and be able to back a person down. They've been playing well. They've been playing hard, and I think that one of the things that it does is it makes the defense kind of move a little bit. It's but we do have to knock down some shots. I will say that. I am not someone who is a proponent of jacking up a whole lot of threes. I don't think 3-point shooting is really our specialty, to be honest with you, this year. But I do think that guys do have to knock down some threes just to keep the spacing. I don't want to see teams just really pack it in on our bigs, because we're shooting so poorly, and really crowd them. And then that's when the turnovers, start to mound because they have no space in there. So we do have to knock down some threes, but, to your point, playing inside out and the way that the bigs have been playing, I think that's a formula that we should continue with.
All right.
Etan,
so go ahead. Go ahead, Paul.
Is it possible for a team to have it just click at some point? Like last game, second half, they held Notre Dame to low 20s in points. And is it possible for a team to just be like, whoa, that worked on defense, so now, there's going to be a buy-in and we go from there?
Well, you can definitely capitalize on the positives that you have from a game. That's why when fans get a little upset with me when I try to speak about positives, even in a loss, there's positives that you can take out. It doesn't mean that the whole game went well, but it has to click some way. So if there a positive that you can say is the defense, whether it's the perimeter defense or the transition defense or something like that, is better, then you can carry that into the next game. And if you have a better offensive night, then you combine that with the carryover from the defensive effort. You can put something together. But I thought the defense was really good. I think that was one of our better defensive games that second half against Notre Dame. And also we was able to get a little bit of fast breaks going. We didn't really fast break a whole lot. I thought that, sometimes Eddie would grab the rebound and outlet it. I know one time it didn't work. He threw the ball away, but just those fast breaks. That's what gets the crowd into it. Everybody's excited. Eddie's playing with a whole lot of emotion and everything like that. I think that there are definitely things that we can capitalize on. But you would like to see things click, to answer your question specifically, on all cylinders, but sometimes it just doesn't happen like that. They click in parts.
So I was going to ask you about that, Etan. So this team's won 3 or 4 now, and they've done some good things in these 3 wins, especially that second half against Notre Dame. And you just used that phrase, you want it to click. And we keep talking about, has the light bulb gone off with this team? Are they coming together? They're 18 games in. Is it? I would say it's probably unusual, right, for it to take this long for something to click. But do you think there's hope that? Have you ever been on a team, I guess, that it took this long for things to quote unquote click, or are they just kind of at this point they kind of are what they are?
No, I don't think it's that. You got to understand also, with the new landscape of basketball, it's going to take a while every year for teams to really click because they have new personnel. It's not like you have younger players that were just there the whole time, and maybe they took a while, then they didn't play that much, but they're playing in the system and they know what the coaches want. And sometimes it's just going to take a little while to click. And I don't think that's necessarily going to go away, but you have to be able to build on the things that worked in the last game. The only thing that I have an issue, and I said it already, I don't know if we're going to, and I'd like to throw it to y'all. What do you think this lineup should be, especially in the backcourt? Which is the best lineup to have JJ really be successful, because we need him to be successful. We don't need him to have a game where he ends up scoring 4 points a game and not that many attempts. I don't know how many attempts he had against Louisville, but he stopped shooting. We don't need that. We need him to score at a high volume. So what would be the best? And I want to ask y'all, what would be the best type of a lineup against a team like Clemson to really be able to bring that out of him?
Yeah, I think it's a great question, Etan, and you're right. I mean, he shot 7 times against Louisville, and that was a season low. He hadn't shot that few attempts in more than a calendar year. In terms of the ideal lineup, I saw somebody say this the other day that, they were in our chat, they were questioning, how does Adrian Autry not know his rotation yet? And I think some of it is just the guys that you thought you were going to have, like going into this season, I think we all thought that Chris Bell was going to be like the second or third best player on this team, and it just has not happened. And Donnie Freeman, I think we thought was going to be the second or third best player on this team, and now he's hurt. And so what do you do? And I think we're seeing the lineup change because it's different lineups work against different teams. My guest tonight, Etan, and I think you and I are on the same page about this. You said, they got away with Cuff and Carlos and JJ on the floor at the same time against Notre Dame. I don't think they get away with that lineup tonight, given how physical Clemson is. I don't know if this is a Jaquan Carlos game per se. I think they're going to, but Cuff is better off the bench. So I think they start the game with JJ and Elijah. And then I think Cuff comes in and hopefully he can continue to do what he's been doing, which is provide energy, provide really good defense, maybe make a shot here or there. You don't necessarily need him to make threes to be effective. He's got to be an energy guy, and you have to hope that JJ gets going, because you're right, Etan. They can't have him shoot 7 times in a game. If they're going to go down, it's got to be with their best player, the ball in their best player's hand. So I think we're going to see a lot of JJ tonight, and I don't think we'll see a repeat of what we saw last week in terms of how many times he shot. The end result may look the same, but I think you're right. I think they got to go down with the ball in his hands.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I would like to see, JJ going, downhill the way that he can. If the defense adjusts to it and they bring that big over, or they don't allow him to really penetrate the way that he did against Boston College, he's going to have to be able to kick it to someone to be able to. They're going to have to knock down an open shot. But that's why I think that it might be beneficial for us to go inside out. To your point earlier. Because I like the way that Jair Davis has been playing. I like the way that Eddie Lampkin has been playing. And, maybe they can free up some of the outside from there when they come down on them. I think that might be a good strategy. But yeah, no, it's gonna be a tough. Tonight is going to be a tough game. Clemson has been playing very well. They're big, they're strong, they're aggressive. They are a pretty good team. So it is going to be tough.
And I think in terms of an ideal lineup tonight, we know that Clemson is physical. We know that they get on the boards. I mean, Ian Shefflin's second in the conference in rebounding right now. I think Davis, Lampkin, JJ, Cuff, all on the floor at the same time. And then whoever else is that fifth guy who's, if Bell provides something tonight, or if Elijah provides something, or Majstorovic, whoever that fifth person is, I think those other four are going to be, because Cuff, he's a physical guy who just does his job. And I think you need that kind of guy in this game tonight.
Yeah, no, I agree. I have nothing but great things to say about Cuff. The way that he's been playing, and the way that the mentality that he brings to each game, and how he's always, ready when his number is called. Nothing but good things to say about him. So I think that he could actually, I think he could be successful in any position. I know he provides that energy coming off the bench, but could he be a starter? Debo said he might put Cuff as a starter. I'd like to hear what Paulie has to say about that, because that is something that's been kind of floating around a little bit. Or would he be better in the role that he has off the bench?
I would leave him on the bench because, Choppa knocks some shots down, and you don't want to mess with a young kid's mentality, and it could screw up, chemistry on the team if you lose someone in the locker room. But, and Cuff's the type of kid that if he gets it, if I'm coming off, that's the kind of attitude you want. He gets it. I'm coming off the bench, but when I do come off, I'm going to give you my best, right? As opposed to I need to start, and, so I would leave Carlos in the starting line.
I agree with you. I like Cuff. I think Cuff likes it. Well, I don't know if I don't know if Cuff likes his role or not, but he's embraced the role, and he just goes out and does his job, and it's not who starts, it's who finishes. And he was certainly on the court there at the end of the game, hit the big free throws down the stretch against Notre Dame to get the job done. Etan, I do want to ask you about Chris Bell, and I'm sure you saw that incident about midway through the second half where Kyle Cuff, got fouled on a fast break. Bell was ahead of the field and was wide open and was very upset and was demonstrative on the court, and kind of had a little temper tantrum, for lack of a better term, and was barking at Cuff on the court. And then Adrian Autry immediately pulled him out of the game. He did not play the rest of the way. How you played basketball for a very long time on a wide variety of teams. How is something like that handled in the locker room, like after a game? Emotions are high. We know Chris Bell's a very emotional player. How does a team kind of move on from that when you've got, two players kind of barking at each other? Well, Cuff didn't really bark back. It was really a one-way conversation, but Chris Bell barking at Kyle Cuff on the court like that. How is that handled in the locker room or at practice after the game?
Well, I've seen it handled different ways. I mean, there's a lot of different, if you're open and you want the ball, you could, talk a little calmly. You can talk a little bit more aggressively. I've had my times where I was open and Jay Hart didn't pass me the ball, and I had to, talk a little bit more aggressively when we got down to the back. It happens. I don't think it's a reflection of them being any bigger issues, on the team as far as chemistry or anything like that. Chris, it's been a tough season, been an up and down season for Chris, and he felt that he was open, and he looked open to me. But you want that passion. You want him to want the ball. You want him to be able to say that, I want to score. I want to, so I don't mind that passion. I don't think it's something that should necessarily be a big deal or spill over into other games. I'm sure they probably talked after it, and it's probably over now. But I don't mind the passion. You want guys to show passion. A lot of things that we've been hearing from the fans is they want guys to be able to show that they care, show that they're in it, show that they want to win, show that, they're upset if they lose. They're upset if they want to show that passion. And the Dome looked pretty good against Notre Dame. It sounded good. It sounded like the crowd was into it. The student section was rocking a little bit. And the Dome is a special place. When the Dome is really into it, and other teams will tell you, the Dome is a hard place to play in as an opponent. And having the fans there, there's that passion that is really, what makes it special. So I personally, this is just my opinion, I personally don't mind the passion, that Chris Bell showed, when he didn't get the ball. I want that from him. I want him to want the ball, and he's going to keep on, working hard, keep on, pushing. Things that might not be going well, not be going great, but he's going to keep on pushing. You want that out of your player.
If Syracuse finds a way to win this game tonight, there'll be a lot of passion in the Dome on Saturday when Pittsburgh comes to town. Really tall task tonight. Syracuse heavy underdogs going into Little John to take on the Tigers. Etan, as always, we appreciate the time. Thanks so much. Enjoy the game tonight, and we look forward to chatting with you again next week.
Sounds good. Pleasure as always.
All right, Etan Thomas joining us here on the program. And with that, we'll hit a timeout. We will wrap up hour number 1 next, and then we'll get to the voice of the Clemson Tigers. Coming up on the start of hour number 2, Don Munson will join us straight up at 1 o'clock. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Tonight, the Orange head to Little John Coliseum in Clemson to battle the Tigers.
Pocket pass to by Storvitz. One more to Lampkin. Up for the two-hand jam. Eddie Lampkin coming in from the weak side.
Pre-game at 5:30, tip-off at 7.
From 17 down in the first half, the Orange come all the way back to knock off Notre Dame and breathe easy.
I look jaundiced.
Paulie's going to be so excited to talk a little bit of baseball.
Who are we talking baseball with?
We're not talking baseball with anybody. The guests have all been announced, but the Hall of Fame is out, and that Paul Skeens card was pulled.
Yeah, that.
Paulie, did you expect CC to be a first ballot Hall of Famer?
Yeah.
You did, okay.
Yeah.
Did you expect Ichiro to not be unanimous?
No, that's such bullshit. Sorry.
We can talk about this later, but I don't think we're ever going to see a unanimous Hall of Famer again.
Right, if he wasn't, right?
I mean, obviously,
no,
the answer
you will.
is Shohei, but like, I think there's going to be...
As all the old guys die off, there'll be more sensible votes.
It's just like, wasn't Jeter not unanimous, right?
Correct. I think he's the only
I feel like
one.
what had to have happened is somebody wasn't unanimous who one voter thought should have been. So now that voter every time is voting no because he's like, well, if this guy wasn't unanimous, then no. I'm not even kidding, though. That has to have been what happened.
Oh, Mariano.
That's a fair point.
Yeah. Like Jeter, I can almost understand Jeter because if we're being honest, like the stat, like he was.
Ichiro was a better.
I don't know.
This is going to be outrageous, but Ichiro's a better player than Jeter was overall.
No,
like
I agree.
He didn't win.
Jeter just like exemplifies the type of baseball player you want your kid to be, and he did it under the brightest of lights his entire career. Yeah, CJC, I agree. Sidney Sweeney, first ballot Hall of Famer, book it. Unanimous.
I could fall asleep.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, Cuse Vegas. Everybody has their opinion. That's what makes these conversations fun, but I don't know.
You know what I'm seeing in our chat right now is they're like not every player I guarantee you is getting paid at Syracuse. So you can only boo the ones that are getting paid.
That's Swift, man. Can you bring back some cheer wine? Dude, Steel Palace wanted to know what your cookout order is.
Oh, it's a burger.
Creative.
That's what it is. That's what you get there. You get a burger. I go ketchup, mustard, lettuce, tomato, onion, hush puppies, banana milkshake, and I'm out.
I've never been to cookout.
It's like they just cook it over like a grill. It's good.
It's like, but it like the format. It's like Five Guys, right?
What do you mean by that?
Oh, they have chicken. Okay, I just mean like the menu, but it doesn't look like it. They have quesadillas and stuff.
No. Yeah.
Cheerwine float. Cheerwine is cherry, right? So that could actually slap. Cherry soda with vanilla ice cream. That has potential.
Their hush puppies are next level.
Oh, dude, a banana pudding milkshake.
Mm-hmm. Oh, so good.
It says fresh banana. I thought that said freak banana, and I was like, whoa.
Yeah, I'm only doing the intro on this one, and then pull me off, right? Well, not this one, for Don.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, you can participate in Don. Just maybe zip me a text if you have a question, then I'll pause so that you can jump in.
I'm out. I don't want to be on that segment with you.
What'd you say?
He just doesn't want to. He wants to be on as little as possible while still being on.
Oh, well, then why do you ask a question to Etan?
Because I bullied him into participating.
Rude.
I don't know. I'm also just being a.
I was told to participate, and then I asked a question.
I want you to participate. He said you didn't want to participate, and I said,
I normally don't.
Nightmare on my street.
Sportstalk.com.
I don't like Steve. It's insufferable working with Steve and Fonnie. I don't know if you guys know that or not. Welcome back to Orange Nation.
I was defending you. I was defending you.
Paulie, Civilian, Steve and Fontie, the needy diva of Syracuse radio, is also here. Nightmare on My Street. I'm your co-host now, Stevie. That would be the end of this song for you.
Yes, you are. I was defending you, Paul. So for those listening on the radio, they couldn't hear our conversation during the commercial break. But Jordan said you wanted to be on as least as possible today. And I said, well, he participated in the Etan Thomas interview. I was defending you, saying that you were doing your job.
Now I have to chime. I was being tongue-in-cheek. Like, it clearly wasn't a literal statement, Steve. Come on. I was being a jerk, saying Paulie just tries to jump out half the time when he's hosting remotely.
Well, I don't know why. I don't know why Paulie came after me.
That's not defending him.
Steve, you said, why did Paulie ask a question like it was like...
No, because he said you didn't want to be on. I said, so then why did he ask a question? If I was challenging Jordan with that statement.
You know, I just read something in the chat, and it made me think, because someone said these guys are paid players now. They got to be able to accept the criticism. Like, how do you decipher between who the paid players are and who the ones that aren't getting paid are? Right? Not everybody's making money this year, right? You think Kyle Cuff's got NIL? I doubt it. He's still out there busting his chops, you know, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's getting something. I've seen him on a car commercial, if I'm not mistaken. But yes, I think there's varying degrees. Yes, there's varying degrees in terms of what guys are making. Obviously,
well, that also doesn't mean he's making money.
Correct. Right. No, that's
he might
fair.
Have a car for
I'm not saying he's. Right. I'm not saying he's making a lot, but yeah, I think most guys are getting something. But it doesn't mean it's a lot. So yeah, I mean, where do you draw the line? There is a gray area now in terms of how much criticism can college athletes get, how much do they deserve.
I was just making it known that all of them are like making six figures.
Yeah, I don't think so. Right, but how do you differentiate who's making more? I don't know. I mean, I think that, we talked about this. Right. We've talked about since this, NIL became a thing about you wonder how this plays in the locker room, what the dynamics are between somebody who's getting paid more than somebody else. The guy who's getting paid less is outperforming the guy who's getting paid more. How does that play in the locker room? How does that play with the guy who's getting paid less? How does that play with the booster who's paying the guy more? How does that play with the coach and, trying to maintain the roster for next year? Like with a Donnie Freeman or Elijah Moore. I know people, we've had some people on this show say, well, Elijah Moore should play more so you can keep him for next year. Well, Adrian Autry's got to win games now. There's a different dynamic now than there ever used to be, and NIL is a big part of that.
San Diego Cuse says every player gets NIL. I don't know that that's true. I would assume next year that's going to be the case. When they're doing profit sharing, everybody will get a little, but this year I don't know that that's the case.
I would assume that the scholarship guys are all getting something. And again, it might not be a lot, but I would assume they're all getting something.
Okay. They probably all got like a nice car to get to and from work or school with.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, work, right? It is work.
Yeah,
it's their job because they're getting paid.
Well, yeah, none of them are getting rich.
Well, I don't know about none of them, but I don't think all of them are getting rich.
Yeah, a couple of them are. What I'm saying is not everybody's on the six-figure level.
Correct. Yes, I would 100% agree with.
How many would you think are on that level at Syracuse in basketball?
Six figures?
Yeah.
I would say, man, that's a good question.
One?
Oh, I was going to say I had three in my head.
Okay. I would go two. Two for sure.
I mean,
Right?
we can say names, right? I mean, I would say Donnie, Lampkin, and JJ, if I had to guess.
I would say Lampkin and JJ, maybe Donnie. I don't know. That's a good question. I'm going to go ask them all. I'll be right back. While you're interviewing Don Munson, I'm going to go knock on doors in the hotel.
Do some investigating reporting.
Should I have my camera with me? How much did you make? Tell me.
Dateline, Greenville, South Carolina.
I just did for those listening on the radio, I just did the VHS camera.
Yes. Right. Oh, all right. Let's step aside. Let's bring on Don Munson on the other side to talk some Clemson Tigers basketball. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
This is Orange Nation.
What'd you do over the weekend, Steve? First time I seen you. Good talk. They don't have me in queue. Steve is hideously ugly.
I can hear you, Paul.
Sorry.
I can hear you.
Oh.
Steve is hideously ugly.
I was, because I asked you how your weekend was.
I can barely hear you.
I asked you how your week. Oh, you heard that, but not how was your weekend? How convenient.
I did not hear. I swear to you, I did not hear that. How do I turn you up?
Q speaker, little red knob. I can't believe you don't know how that. How about now? You turned up.
No, that was.
It's up higher.
That was the commercial.
It's up higher. Up higher. Q speaker. Hello, there you go. Just leave.
Oh! I got you.
It's amazing that you don't know how to run a board at your age. What an embarrassment.
I'm an embarrassment. Okay.
Yes. Well, why do we have all those Kyle McCord pictures back up again?
I don't know.
It's
I was
annoying.
wondering the same thing.
You hire a guy from K-Rock and all of a sudden he's decorating. Yeah, he is giving off Bell vibes with his ability to run the board.
I see that. That's
horrible teammate.
The pictures were literally never down. What do you mean back up?
I took them down.
Like in front of the camera now.
Yeah, they're blocking Steve partially. I'm going to have to cut them all up into small pieces. I'm going to
move back to my spot now. I turned up Q because I wanted to hear him live.
I'm going to cut them up into small pieces and see if someone tapes them back together and put them up.
What do you eating? Some M&Ms. Okay. So this is a public service announcement. As you know, the red dye has been banned. You should avoid the red ones.
Oh, for the love of God.
Time, not a long time.
Here,
trying to help.
I'm going to introduce Don Munson and then get off, guys, whoever's working at the mega desk. So take me away. What song am I introducing? Do Summertime because it's snowing in South Carolina.
Okay. You're going to be introducing Summertime.
Thank you.
Because it's snowing in South Carolina.
Oh, that's...
Why are you guys being low-key jerks right now?
Because I'm miserable, Paulie.
You told me that I was an embarrassment because I don't know how to run the board.
I'm just not a happy person.
Is that not a fair statement that he's an embarrassment for not knowing how to run the board?
I think that's a bit harsh.
I think an embarrassment is a little strong.
Thank you.
But I think the sentiment is there.
It's completely unacceptable that a 48-year-old who's been in the business.
I used to be able to with like notes. I haven't done it in a long time.
I bet you old TJ, you know who could run a board.
I could back in the day. The board
now
was
you're
different,
too you make too much money to run the board. You are the high-paid NIL player on this team.
That is kind of funny. DJ, you know.
I could run the board if I absolutely had to.
What if we?
And if I had notes, if I had like directions, I could do it.
Gavendo says the show in chat had a great time yesterday. Cool. Glad that happened for you. Sorry to ruin your day, Gavendo. You don't have to be here. The hell is that?
Nothing. Just drink maintenance.
Liquidify! It'll be good again tomorrow, because I won't be here.
Watch your favorite ESPN Syracuse sports talk shows on CuseSportsTalk.com.
Welcome back to Orange Nation. Paulie in South Carolina. Steve in Syracuse. It is not summertime as it's Jazzy Jeff, the Fresh Prince. In either location, I have friends down here, Steve, and they had 2-hour delay for work because of the snow. It's chilly down here and snowy.
Yeah, it's cold in both places. I will say it's definitely colder here, but we're more used to it than they are.
Why you got to one up? Why you got to one up Clemson?
It's below zero here. I don't think it's below zero there, is it?
No, it's in the 20s.
Okay, that's still really cold for South Carolina. As we are pleased to be joined by the voice of the Clemson Tigers, one of our favorite guests, Don Munson, joins us. We always love chatting with John about the Clemson Tigers. Don, about the Clemson Tigers. Don, how are you today?
I'm good, and yes, it's way too cold in this town. You can take this stuff back.
Yeah, right. All right, let's talk about this team, because the Clemson Tigers are not cold at all. They are red hot. They've got one loss here in league play, 7-1 in the ACC. Paulie and I were talking about at the top of the show that clearly Duke is the best team in this conference. Is Clemson next in line? I mean, Louisville's right there. Wake is right there. Do you think Clemson is the second best team in this conference right now?
I think you can make an argument for that. I mean, I'm not going to say that one way or another because, obviously we played Louisville and lost by 10 points at their place. So, if you're just going head to head, then you got to give Louisville the edge. We have not seen Duke yet. We'll see them on the 8th of February. We have them in North Carolina back to back, as a matter of fact, in about a 3-day period, I guess, on the 8th and the 10th. So, but that'll be at our place. So then that will be the only time that we play Duke. So we'll find out a little bit about it and go from there. But I think you have an argument that yes, you could say that Clemson's the second best team.
Obviously you had some key departures last year, the likes of PJ Hall and everybody's favorite player around here, Joe Girard. But you've got Ian Shefflin is back and Chase Hunter and a nice nucleus with which to work, and those guys have been every bit as good as advertised this season, stepping up into those larger roles. Hunter leads the conference in 3-point shooting accuracy, Shefflin second in rebounding. I guess talk about those two guys in particular, just right off the bat, about those are the two stars, and they've performed very well so far this season.
Hey, you know what? The strange thing about those two guys, particularly in today's day and age, both of those guys have always been Clemson Tigers, and they were developmental players that have come into this program. You go back just 4 years ago, and if you were going to tell people, oh, hey, Chase Hunter and Ian Shefflin both have chance to be first-team All-ACC guys, and maybe, stretching it a little bit, but maybe even an All-American status, and people, you're nuts. You're absolutely crazy. But that's the advantage of being patient with players, letting them develop, working hard with them so they do develop their games, and they both have just been. They've been great. I mean, just Chase here as of late in particular has just been outstanding. Ian's been hurt. Ian's playing hurt. He's playing with back spasms, and he's also got a bit of a calf problem that's hindering him right now. But even through all of that, he just goes out there and he just gives you what you want. And as Brad right now calls it, Clemson grit, and he's certainly playing with it.
How about Jaden Zachary? He came up big in this game against Pittsburgh, where Clemson had the big lead at halftime, and Pittsburgh made a mad rally in the second half, forced overtime, and then Clemson gets it done in OT. Jaden Zachary, 16 points, in that win. Speak to his addition, if you could, and kind of what he brings to the table for this team.
Yeah, as good as Girard was last year, as complimenting the Clemson guards and particularly complimenting Chase, Jaden's been even better. I mean, he really has. Jaden has been. You can make an argument that he's been the glue that's held all of this stuff together. As a matter of fact, just a tremendous addition for Clemson, and he's brought a different defensive presence to this ball club that we haven't seen around here in quite a while. I mean, you maybe have to go back to a guy. If Syracuse fans remember, a guy named K.J. McDaniels, who was the Defensive Player of the Year in the league his last year here at Clemson. That's how far you would have to go back. But no, Jaden's been the perfect fit, just an absolutely perfect fit for Clemson.
You know, you look at their resume to this point, and Clemson has 4 losses. 2 of them were in overtime. One was really early in the year at Boise State. You mentioned the 10-point loss to Louisville. What is the expectation from a postseason perspective right now? Because it's not a matter of if they're going to make the NCAA tournament. I mean, what do you think is the ceiling in terms of a seed for this team with what they've got left and, a lot of winnable games left on the schedule? I mean, what is, I guess, the goal from a seeding perspective?
Well, you got to remember now, Clemson basketball fans, it wasn't that long ago that Clemson got off to a 10-1 start inside the league, finished at 14-6, and didn't make the NCAA tournament.
Sure.
All right, so you got to remember that's what this program has had to live with. So expectations are right now are I think that everybody sees what this team can be, but Clemson basketball fans, all right, I believe it when I see it. I believe it when it actually gets here. That's why tonight's important. I mean, tonight is important for Clemson. They need to hold serve. They need to continue to be able to separate themselves from the mid portion of the pack and the bottom of the pack in the league, and then keep track with Wake Forest. People, I think, are forgetting Wake Forest. Wake Forest, after that win last night, they still only have 1 league loss that's on their resume, and obviously Louisville, they're also 7-1. So and all trailing, right now, but they're staying within striking distance of Duke. So anything is going to be possible, I think, as we finish this out. But that's why tonight's game for Clemson is big. Clemson needs to defend home court and win this thing tonight.
As you look at this Syracuse team and get ready for this broadcast tonight, what stands out to you about the Orange? Obviously, it's been an inconsistent season, up and down season. They've dealt with injuries. What stands out to you about the team that you're going to see on the floor tonight?
Yeah, and I think that the injury thing has been probably the key component to all this, because I don't know that we really know at this point in time what Syracuse has. And there's still some injuries. I mean, I guess there's still some question marks about, who's going to play tonight, who's not going to play this evening. So they're still battling through that, which is fine. I think that Syracuse fan also needs to understand that's fine, because when do you want your team playing your best basketball? You want that to start happening in late February, going into March, going into the ACC tournament, because I think there's enough talent on this Syracuse club that they can make a run in an ACC tournament. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And if they all of a sudden the pieces of the puzzle are starting to come together early February, and then it really starts clicking mid-February and carries it into March, and this is a club that can be really, really dangerous. So I think they need to understand that fact. But when you look at Syracuse right now, they don't shoot the 3 well. At least they haven't been shooting the 3 well, which is kind of mind-boggling when you consider the type of shooters that they have. I don't know that they've rebounded the ball all that tremendously well. Inside the league, I know that they're dead even as far as opponents' rebounds to their rebounds are concerned. But probably the biggest thing is that I think that Syracuse has got to play better defense, and I think that's just what it comes down to. That's one of the things that I think that maybe you will see tonight from Clemson. Watch their on-ball defense. Their on-ball defense has been extraordinary so far this year, and hopefully that turns back up again tonight.
Along those lines, we laid out the numbers in terms of this series. Clemson is 6-1 against Syracuse at Littlejohn since the Orange joined the ACC. 5 of those games have been decided by double digits. That's my biggest impression of when Syracuse goes to Clemson in particular. They see a ramped up, in your face type defense that traditionally Syracuse has not handled well from an offensive perspective. You've seen this series up close and personal since Syracuse joined the conference. What is it about Clemson in Littlejohn that makes them so difficult to beat for this Syracuse team?
Well, certainly, when it all started in just years past, the fact that it was Syracuse, and Boeheim was bringing a Syracuse ball club in here that was traditionally just a kind of a national. They were a national emblem. They were a national power. They've lost some of that, and I think I'm not saying anything that you all don't know. I think that they have lost some, and so they got to find what's the path back to that. They went 20-10 last year, but here they come in and they struggle so far this year. But I think that's had something to do with it. Is that just the name Syracuse has brought out the best for whatever reason for folks. There's enough Syracuse fans that are here in the area. There'll be more Syracuse fans in the building tonight than most people will realize. And I wouldn't, but. Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked, but also that we see a kind of a sold-out crowd. I think the student body will show out well at Clemson. There'll probably be better than 9,300 that'll be in the building. And when you put 9,300 in Littlejohn, believe me, it's one of the more difficult places for an opponent to come in and win. And and Syracuse, for whatever reason, hasn't been able to do that except for once when they hit a jumper out of the corner right as the buzzer was sounding off to beat Clemson by a point. I think it was 82-81.
Yeah, Tyus battle on a night when battling the flu and came up with a huge shot to win the game for the Orange. All right, last question for you, Don. I mean, as you look at tonight's matchup, Clemson 15.5-point favorites. I've seen it as a higher number in some places as well. How do you see tonight's game playing itself out?
As you look at it, I don't know. I think 15.5. I think if I was a betting man, and I'm not, I probably would. I think that may be a little bit large number, to be perfectly honest with you. But I will also tell you this: in every ACC game that Clemson has played, except one, that was the most recent one when they won in overtime at Pitt the other night. Every game's been decided by 10 points or more. The loss was by 10 points to Louisville. Every other game except the Pitt game, Clemson's won by double digits. So there's that going for them, and that probably has influenced the boys in Vegas as well. But I would expect Clemson to prevail. I would kind of be shocked if Clemson doesn't prevail in this one tonight. But they got to be careful because I think there are some things that Syracuse can do well. I think there's some players that can absolutely get hot and carry a team to victory, and they can't let that happen.
All right, Don. We always love having you on. Thanks so much for the insight. Have a great call tonight, and I'm sure we'll talk again soon.
All right, brother. Appreciate you having me on. Have a great time with the rest of the day. Enjoy your sub-zero temperatures and keep it there.
All right, we will. We'll do, Don.
All right, bud.
All right.
Hey, man.
Don Munson, voice of the Clemson Tigers, joining us here on the program. We'll hit a timeout. We'll open up the phone lines. Phone lines open the rest of the way, 315-437-7644. We're back after this on ESPN Radio.
Thursday, the Orange women return home to take on the NC.
You're disappointed.
I realized I was extremely chilly in my room, and I just went and looked at the thermostat. It was 63 degrees in here.
Wow.
Yeah, it's cold.
That is aggressive.
I didn't do it on purpose.
What the heck, dude? What was that? He didn't say the thing. He always says the thing.
He didn't say the thing.
Why didn't he say the thing? That's my favorite part of Don coming on. Thanks for letting me spread the gospel of the Tigers or Clemson or whatever he says.
Yeah.
Come on.
Now that they're getting paid, he doesn't care.
I did really like when he's like, if I were a betting man, which I'm not. Like there was a little extra behind that, which I'm not compared to a lot of guys.
It just shows you like they haven't lost by more than 10 or one. All their games have been open. It just there's the haves and have-nots right now. It's gross.
Dude, I'm so salty right now. Hey, admin, let me get a free Brewfest. A free ticket, but they're
that sounds
so
like a good
readily
idea.
available at cnybrewfest.com. Yeah, Cuse Vegas. That's funny. Hold on, let me. Like he's got a new thing he's been tweeting out too. I was hoping he would do that. Let me find it. After every win, he's been tweeting, all God's children say go Tigers. Like, I was all here for the Don Munson traditional end to the call.
I'm sorry to disappoint you.
I'm kind of upset.
I can tell.
Like, you saw I left him on for a little bit too. I was
you saw I waited. I hesitated before, like, okay, you're done? Are you really done?
Did somebody tell him not to say it? Like,
Maybe.
what's going on?
Maybe.
Or maybe did we just not earn it? Maybe because he wasn't talking to Paulie, like he didn't feel the need
Could be.
like.
Is it like have a good time in the 315? Like maybe he wasn't feeling it.
Oh, good one.
Could be.
Because he's so cold.
Like, that's his generic exit greeting for both of you. But when it was just you, he's like, "All right, brother." Like, so maybe he doesn't need to go generic for you. I don't know. Oh,
we needed Paulie involved. That's what we needed.
That's disappointing.
We need participation from Paulie.
Oh, now I gotta find a new Clemson guest.
Oh, that's harsh.
And no, I can't. He's one of our favorites. Is he still one of our favorites now?
I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know. He got knocked down in the rankings because of that.
I'm gonna text him like, Don, like, you feeling all right?
Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
Are you feeling all good, man? Like, you didn't sound like yourself.
He turned into Hulk Hogan. Thanks a lot, brother.
I love Don. Don is so nice. Tim was telling me that the first time he met Don, he immediately was just like, here, like, take my business card. If you ever need anything at all, let me know. Like, just such a nice guy. No, Kev, you're right. It's literally the same way I felt when I got over it now. But when Steve doesn't say have a good time in the 315, I get mad.
My kicker story is a little weird today.
All right. I was thinking we'd talk this McCord thing briefly and then get to today's business.
What's the McCord thing?
David Hale did 100 best players in college football, and he ranked him 37th, which I just think, I don't have an issue with that, but I think the fact that 5 Ohio State players ranked above Kyle McCord says a lot about college football.
What about the fact that McCord was 10th in the Heisman? Don't you think he should be higher in that particular ranking or no?
In the Heisman?
No, because they
no. I'm saying
in this. Well,
no, because defense and everything.
Even though it should be, it's not.
And that's not pro. That's not pro prospect either, right? It's just college
but that's
player.
Not
right?
what his list was per se.
This isn't pro prospect either.
No, it was just
that's what I'm saying.
Best season.
Yeah, that's about right.
37th. Okay,
Can't lose
10th in the Heisman.
Yeah, they don't include like.
I mean, the Heisman's also before the playoff. I don't know. I mean,
you can't be in the top 30 and lose to Stanford. I'm going to talk like a fan right now.
SportsTalk.com.
We're going to do Ring My Bell.
Ring My Bell. Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince. This is a sample of the song Ring My Bell from, is it Anita Ward in the disco era? This is not the original. This is an aggressively fast, amped up version, if I'm correct, right, Steve?
It's Jazzy Jeff's street mix, Paulie.
Yeah, okay, yeah. See, it's okay.
This is the club remix when you had like a Red Bull in you. You're like, yeah, this is good.
Steve doing Jaeger bombs at the club. I like it. Do they still do those, Jordan? Was that part of your generation, Jaeger bombs?
I think my generation has kind of moved away from Jaeger. I think it's the old vodka Red Bull. That's what the kids are doing.
I did. I did a Jaeger bomb with Tom Green, the comedian, once. There's my brush with greatness.
You've had a few odd brushes with greatness along those lines.
I travel a lot. It was at the Final Four.
Like the Pauly Shore story you told us. And you have some of these, these just weird brushes.
If you got a D-level comedian, I can hang out with him.
Chances are you've met him, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I did it in New Orleans, someone asked. That's where it was, at the Final Four.
How about that?
All right, friends. I'm not officially calling this today's business, but
okay,
it's similar to it. David Hale, friend of the 315 of ESPN and ACC Network, ranked the 100 top players of the 24-25 college football season. I should have had you guys guess where he was, but I wasn't thinking that far ahead this morning, so I told you. Kyle McCord is ranked 37th. What are some notable rankings in comparison to this? Well, Jackson Dart, who a lot of people have above McCord on their lists for quarterbacks being drafted, is right below him at 36. There are 5, count them 5, Ohio State players ranked ahead of Kyle McCord. I think that speaks to just the talent discrepancy in college football. And I've got to look for Will Howard now. He's 57. So I don't know what that says, but Will Howard, national champion quarterback, the guy who replaced Kyle McCord, who some have now moved ahead of Kyle McCord in draft rankings, is 20 spots below him per David Hale. Obviously, draft rankings and performance this season are not the same, but where does Kyle McCord at 37 sit with you?
I mean, I'm fine with it. I said, listen, he finished 10th in the Heisman. I thought he would be a little bit higher, but to your point, you said they're taking into account defensive players as well, which really the Heisman tends not to. So I understand the bump down from there, but he had a fabulous year. And, I'm seeing like Mel Kiper having him in his top 5 quarterbacks, on his draft board. Like I think it's understandable why he left, right? Like if he's considered a top 5 quarterback in this draft, that makes it a no-brainer, right? I mean, he's probably going on day 2, I would assume, if he's a top 5 quarterback in this draft, and he obviously has a chance to move up. So I think that gives you some idea. People were wondering, well, why didn't he wait to find out if he got the waiver? It sounds like the feedback he was getting, or as people were getting, it was a no-brainer that he had to go.
Absolutely, and 37's good. Think back last year, 2 years ago. Like, would you be like, hey, someone's doing a top 100 list? That's are we upset with having the 37th best player? Nope, I'll take that right now.
Sure.
What concerns me is now the schedule gets more difficult for next season, and the only player on Syracuse ranked in the top 100 is gone, which, you guys have discussed that, so I'm not breaking any news here, but I think this list kind of just speaks to that. Like, wow, don't go into next season expecting 10 wins again. Certainly don't. And I don't think a lot of people are, but I think some people would be disappointed with like a 6 or 7 win season.
Did you see who the Heisman front runner is? Odds on Heisman front runner for next year?
I forgot. It's not Jeremiah Smith. I know.
No,
that.
It's the LSU quarterback, Garrett Nussmeier. Right now, anyway, odds on favorite. So
I saw
Ricky Collins is really good and just didn't want to wait. Anyway, go ahead.
I saw Syracuse is 13.5-point dogs to Tennessee already.
Is that right?
Yes. They don't even know who the players are.
Is betting on that line right now. Like, come on, man. You don't even know who Syracuse's starting quarterback is. Like you said, but you don't even know who the players are.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
Wow. All right. It's time for
says they saw 20, I think.
It's time for today's business. What's brought to you by or who?
No, it's not. It's absolutely not.
So we're going to
I thought you said we were going to do
today's business in the next segment.
Oh, I thought you said we were going to do Kyle McCord quick. And then, all right, it's a whole segment. We're being lazy today. I like it.
Well, no, we're not being lazy. We're going to take a time out here. We're going to get back on time.
I'm splitting up our content to save people from you spending 20 minutes talking about your run-ins with Y-list comedians and your time at the club.
Have you ever had a Jaeger bomb with a celebrity?
And this and Jaeger bombs. No, I don't think I've ever had a Jaeger bomb.
Oh man,
gross. It tastes like black licorice. I'm out on that.
No, yeah, it's out. Like there's some really gross liquors out there, like that Rumpelmintz.
Dude, he reeled me in.
He did, so now you're talking about it.
I know what people want to talk about. Steve, what's the grossest booze out there?
I don't know. I don't know.
You don't know.
I remember the liquor that we had at your birthday party a couple years ago.
Oh yeah, liquid. that was
not good.
Liquid margarita, whatever the hell that was.
Yeah, that was not good.
When are we gonna have another everybody comes over to Paulie's house and eats food and stuff day?
Brought to you by who? I need a sponsor. I need an eye on that.
Brought to you by the 2 lunches you owe Steve.
Supercat says Goldschlager. I can't even smell Big Red anymore because of Goldschlager. Like the thought of, I got so sick on that stuff. Nope. All right.
I had a run-in.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Doesn't sound like it ended well.
No.
Brian Higgins saw Dustin Diamond at a bar in Louisville. You know who that is? That's Screech
That's Screech from Saved by the Bell, yeah.
Yeah, R.I.P.
Come on, Steve. You can do this. We're going to talk baseball after the break, Steve. You just got to get us there.
All right, let's take a time out. We do have today's business coming up next. Paulie's got
Steve's friends with Chubby Checker.
You know what?
I am friends with Chubby Checker.
Hold on.
How did that come up?
Because celebrities, hold on. We're talking all this booze. If that's a little hard for you, then may I suggest the Wildcat Sports Pub CNY Brew Fest coming up on Saturday, February 1st. Got over 150 beers. Got cider and seltzer row. Heck, there's even a VIP party the night before. That's in like a week and a couple days. Limited beers, live music. It's going to be a great time, man. There's cornhole, there's snacks. It's basically everything I live for, you know? Some seltzers, some snacks, some music, some cornhole. So CNYBrewFest.com is where you can get your tickets for that, and I would highly recommend you do so.
All right, we'll hit a timeout. Today's business coming up next on ESPN Radio.
I was just trying to help you with your D-list celebrity run-ins. Didn't you?
You take that back.
Didn't you?
Chubby Checker is the A-listiest celebrity there is.
No, Michael Bivins is the A-list. Was Chubby Checker there when the llama lady locked her? No, that would have been awesome. If you watch somebody lose a finger with the Chubby Checker. That is a brush with greatness.
Oh, I'm like still scarred from that whole experience with the llama lady. It's funny because I said to Christy, I was hosting with Christy that day, and I said, this isn't going well. I was like, we need to move to the side here. Hey, Katie. Katie's here. Katie, how are you? Were you there for that?
I was not. I went in later on.
Yeah.
Because I was scheduled to direct the 90 and the 4 later on that day, and I had to go back to the station for the 11.
That was a classic moment in Bridge Street history.
I mean, they're still talking about it.
Yeah, well, we are. We literally are still talking about it, yes.
I think everyone still refers to it, too, whenever the fair comes up.
Yeah.
So, I mean.
Yeah, it was traumatic for all parties.
Did they call her Llama Lady? Because that's the best name ever.
Well, you did, and I think it's stuck. It's Llama Lady now. Yeah.
So, have you guys asked them to be back, or did that just not happen?
It's a great question. My guess is we probably didn't ask them back after that because it didn't go well.
Yeah.
But
because didn't the llama get spooked and then like ran?
Oh yeah. No, the llama got loose. So the llama pulled off the lady's finger, and then the llama was like free at the fair,
running around with a finger on it.
Corral the llama.
Yikes.
Was there just a leash with a finger dragging on it?
No, they were. I'm not joking, Paulie. They were looking in the grass for the tip of the lady's finger. You lost you lost your keys or something. They were like looking in the grass for the top of the lady's finger.
I would have let a dog go because the dog probably would have found it quicker.
That's probably true.
Like a hot dog in the grass.
I don't think that would have been wise because the dog might have consumed
it. Yeah. Then you wouldn't have been able to reattach it.
Hi, friends.
All right. See you, Katie.
San Diego Zoo's mom was bitten by a llama.
Yeah, they're mean. They're mean suckers.
They'll spit on you.
San Diego Zoo.
San Diego Cuse. San Diego Zoo. I saw petting zoo. Sorry.
All right.
The San Diego Zoo, by the way, is the first zoo that I ever visited.
That's a very good one. Look at humble brag.
They should be honored.
Why is it a humble brag?
I don't know. Was that on the same day, the same trip that you were in 4 different states at once?
No, because I remember being in 4 different states at once. I don't remember being 3, but I did learn how to chew gum on that trip. There's pictures of that because to chew gum to fly, because I had issues with my ears, and my mom took pictures of me learning how to chew gum in the airport.
You sound like a fucking handful.
So here's the thing with the cookout tray, right? Some of these sides are very clearly like entrees. So like, who wouldn't want a chicken wrap but like, do I want a chicken wrap with my burger?
No, you don't go to Cookout for a chicken wrap.
Well, it's one of the sides. So what do you? So say you're getting 2 sides or double up, which I'm not doing. That's aggressive.
Double hush puppies.
No, I hate people who get when it's choose 2 sides who get 2 of the same.
I don't know if you know how
thing.
good those hush puppies are.
What's a bacon wrap? Is there like a wrap with bacon in it? The white cheddar cheese bites feel like they could be a play. Quesadilla is a wild side to go with. Just get like a corn dog on the side. That's crazy. Oh, dude, you could get a chicken wrap and a corn dog and put the corn dog in the chicken wrap and just have like a mega wrap.
Don't play with your food.
Girls ain't nothing but trouble.
Oh, you found it. Hopefully it's not the old version. Girls ain't nothing but trouble. This is a banger. It's got the Genie song. I Dream of Jeannie theme song is the sample. And it's a life lesson. Girls ain't nothing but trouble. Steve, you remember this one?
I do remember this one.
These are wholesome songs. All right.
Yeah, music's come a long way.
Jordan, a little taken aback by the word hell.
Yes, he was.
I wasn't expecting that. That's the good thing about DJ Jazzy Jeff and the Fresh Prince is like, I still did because I'm used to it, but you don't even really have to type clean version.
Right.
No.
Or squeaky clean.
Yeah, well, that version, there's a version that they had to change the lyrics to because it wasn't PC at one point, but
like you couldn't play it on a computer.
Like they had to update the lyrics as the times changed, if you know what I'm getting at. Today's business brought to you by
Grossman St. Amour CPAs.
And the website?
GSACPAs.com.
What do you got, Jordan?
Well, I said I was going to find a new transition. I'm not. That's for another day. Just like Grossman St. Amour helps you sit back and relax while they handle the finances for you and your business. An 11-year-old card collector in Pittsburgh. Maybe he's not in Pittsburgh. I don't know where he's from.
He's
California.
on the West Coast. He's in California.
So you guys all know he can sit back and relax because he finally did it. He pulled the rare, one of one, like jersey patch, Paul Skeens, whatever card. If you're not familiar with this story, it's a big card, and that's why the Pirates are willing to offer like an arm and a leg to get the card back. They're offering like seats behind home plate for 30 years, a game for you and 29 of your friends, a softball game at the park, a chance to watch a game in the suite with Livy Dunn, a meet and greet with Skeens, a couple signed jerseys. Like they're trying real hard to get it.
Yeah, no. The kid lives in California. Sell the card. Get your 500 to $1 million
tour of the park.
You can, with your $1 million, you can pay to get a private tour of the park. Yeah, sell the card.
All right. So, Paulie, I know we talk baseball cards on the show quite a bit. Explain to me why this card is worth $1 million.
It's the
projected
biggest
to auction for 1.5.
It's the
biggest. But why $1 million?
It's the biggest player in baseball, and it's a one of one. It's like a product hit. It's like there was the LeBron James logo man that nobody could find. It's the product hit, so it's worth a lot of money. There's only one of them made.
So it's the only card that's going to be made like this, and is it from like his first
game? Yes,
it is. Okay,
it's a patch he wore on the day of his first game
of his debut. Got it. Okay.
So Frank Michael Smith on Twitter, and I trust any guy with 3 names and a lot of followers, says that for about $720K, you could get the 2 seats behind home plate for 30 seasons at Pirates games. So that's about half of what the card is projected to auction.
He lives in California.
So then,
Yeah, but he could sell the tickets, right? Is that the point you're making, Jordan? You can.
I mean, I'm just putting some value into it. But yeah, you can sell the ticket.
too much
I
work.
think whoever wins is going to sell the ticket, dude. Like, nobody wants to sit behind home plate for 30 years of Pirates games.
Like you have to spend 30 years of listing tickets on StubHub. Like, that's a terrible job.
That is a great point. The opportunity cost.
Yeah, right.
Oh my god.
The time and effort
and then
and
you
labor,
got to pay somebody to do that for you. That cuts out of the
There's
profit.
probably fees involved.
Oh yeah.
Dope can't figure out how to transfer the tickets, and you spend 20 minutes with him. No, just sell a ticket.
Imagine spending 30 years helping people transfer.
So you said that's worth half of what the ticket is, or half of what the card is worth?
Yeah, so
they're saying 1.5
this guy on
million?
Twitter, who is a sports writer and entrepreneur with 2 billion video views. I don't know the guy, but I'm picking up what he's putting down. He says that the card is projected to auction for $1.5 million. So that means if all this math is right, the Pirates are valuing a Pirates game with Livy Dunn in her suite around like $150K.
So, Paulie, what would you do if you got this? So you say just go sell it. It can't be that easy, right? I mean, would you make more in an auction type situation, or how would you maximize the card value?
You either put it in an auction, which you're going to have to pay somebody to do, or you throw it up on eBay, and then you're going to pay them 15% plus taxes, and all that other stuff. Like, I don't know. I've never been lucky enough to pull a card like that, but you have to sell it, and you'd probably make one after all the fees and whatnot.
Yeah, man.
And sell it now, because you don't know if, like, Paul Skeens throws his arm out.
Sure.
In 2 years, this year, you're done. Sell it now.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. That's got to be the play. All right, what else you got, Jordan?
One thing to bring up before we switch topics is some people in the Twitter comments have noted that with inflation and whatnot, the value of those tickets could go up.
Yes, that's
so
true.
$12K a year might not be fair.
Take the freaking money and run.
At 11.
Yeah, I hate that kid.
What a guy. MLB Hall of Famers have been announced, the upcoming class. There are 3 of them, Ichiro, Billy Wagner, and CC Sabathia. But I don't even care as much about that. What I care about is that Ichiro Suzuki was not a unanimous Hall of Famer. He missed out by 1 vote, just like Derek Jeter. And that leads me to this question. When are we ever going to see a unanimous Hall of Famer again if Jeter and Ichiro are not unanimous?
When all the old idiots die.
Yeah, dude, because there's one guy, one guy voted for somebody and they didn't make it. He's like, oh, well, if this guy's not unanimous, nobody can be. And he's just ruining the whole thing every year. And it's poppycock, if you will.
Yeah, you got to hope those old guys die off and someone would get it. That's it.
I don't think you have to hope. Like,
they should beat the guy who didn't vote for him publicly. Like, he should be publicly shamed and beaten.
I mean, isn't that kind of what the guy's hoping for, though? To, like,
get publicly shamed and beaten?
Not publicly shamed, but publicly mentioned, right? Isn't that why somebody like that?
Well, I don't know if he
would do it.
It's anonymous.
You can make your vote public, though, right? When you type in who didn't on Google, who didn't vote for Ichiro are the top 3 things that come up for what it's worth.
So
but your computer's also always listening.
So what happens? So when you click on it, does it say?
I'm trying.
Okay.
I'm trying.
You might as well just buy an advertisement on the Super Bowl that says I'm an idiot, because you're going to get the same response as not voting for Ichiro. Unanimous.
Yeah.
It's just stupid.
Also, another thing that this kind of hit me hard with, and it's happening more and more in recent years, but we're getting to the age now to where the guys who are making the Hall of Fame are guys who just I've played with in video games and remember watching, and it's making me feel kind of old. Like, oh my gosh.
Welcome to life,
Hall
man.
Of Fame. It just stinks.
I pulled an Ichiro Auto. That was my big pull. Pulled it out of a
there
blaster
you go. So that
box.
person might have cost you money. That voter could have cost you some money. He would have been the first unanimous Hall of Famer since Mariano Rivera.
Oh, I would like to punch that guy right in the stomach.
Yeah, I'm just reading up on it. It says that a lot of voters do make their votes public, but you don't have to. It's not a requirement. So one guy turned in his ballot, and Ichiro's name was not on it. So it's not like you vote against, players. It's you vote for players, and he didn't have Ichiro, I guess, checked.
Yeah, the guy's a tool. The guy's a tool. He just sits in the shadows and rubs his hands together and laughs. He's like, like, guy stinks.
Ever watch Ichiro hit?
It's a shame.
Like when Ichiro hit the ball, like it looked like he was already running to first when he hit it.
Yeah. Like, halfway down the line.
Yeah, but he wasn't. Like if you watch it, he was so quick. His hands to the ball, like his sweet swing.
Yeah,
I'm a huge fan.
Really was. Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you on that. Yeah, how can you not be? How can you not think he's the first, ballot Hall of Famer? So it's a shame that he was left off one ballot.
Interesting with him too, and we'll move on from Ichiro in a second. But I'm sure you guys have heard the stories that he had power, he just didn't use it as much. Like he could absolutely smoke the ball. I wonder in today's game if that is the case, if he would have tried to be more of a power hitter because the singles and getting on base have been devalued a little bit.
I don't know. Like I think he is who he is, and you would have loved. He had speed. He had everything you'd want out of a leadoff hitter, right? Imagine him batting in front of it is prime, batting in front of, Judge. You'd want him on base, right?
Of course.
All right. One more brief thing. We can spend like 30 seconds on this, but the Washington Capitals goalie gave up a goal and blamed it on a tray of cheesy nachos falling onto the ice and said it distracted him. Is that valid or no?
Yes.
Like if a tray of nachos fell onto the ice, are you going to be like, yeah, look, I know I probably should have saved that, but there were nachos on the ice. Like,
well, I don't think he meant it like that.
How did they get on the ice?
You don't mention it. Probably a fan.
Blast.
I mean, if somebody... Yeah, like if somebody threw like a bottle on the ice or something, or on the the field of play if it's football, or on the court if it's basketball, I can see why a player would be distracted.
Why to me is a bottle accepted? Like you can't be distracted by a bottle, but cheesy nachos is completely distracting because you're not expecting to see nachos get thrown on the ice.
Right. Well, and it probably made a mess. And I didn't see the video. Is there video of it? I assume there must be.
I don't know the video. It's a 1-goal game. Basically, the nachos appear to be right behind Oilers' Corey Perry while he's shooting it.
So it's actually on the ice.
Oh, yeah. It's on the ice.
It fell on the ice.
It is on the ice.
He saw a jalapeno and thought it was the puck, and he followed it.
Steve's taking a look at the nachos, the placement.
So somebody threw that over the glass. Or from the upper, the second tier.
I would assume so.
And it landed. I can see why that would distract him.
Because I love nachos.
Come on, dude.
Well, you don't know what it is, right? You don't know what it is, especially this day and age. You don't know what it is,
dude.
Dateline.
If somebody threw something onto the ice, I could see why it would be
distracting. Save the puck.
All right.
Dayline America, it's national. This is the weirdest national day ever. It's National Answer Your Cat's Questions Day.
That can't be a thing.
Okay. Go on. You reeled me in. Go on.
That's it? Like, how much more do I have to read? Like, who is answering? Do cats have questions? Have you ever been asked a question by a cat?
No.
I'm not a cat person, so I don't know.
Did you just say that's not a real thing, Steve? Like, I made that up?
I said that. No, I'm saying, like, I can't believe that that's a thing. I said that can't be a thing, but that's what I'm saying. Like, that's crazy. I'm agreeing with you. That's crazy.
All right. Thank you.
Jets are hiring Aaron Glenn, the Lions defensive coordinator, per Adam Schefter, new Jets head coach.
Good luck. Way to ruin your career.
I think a few cats might have a question about that hire. A few questions might have cats, is what I was going to say. No, it's the other way around. All right, we'll take our final timeout. We'll wrap things up next on ESPN Radio.
The Sports Show with Cody Mack.
Oh, you're very good at getting the commercials off, Jordan. I appreciate.
Thank you. Paulie's outspoken in studio, isn't he? Supercut.
I'm outspoken. I wish I was out in the sun, retired, with my Paul Skeens card, rubbing it all over myself.
That would make it not mint condition.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. It's a 101.
You can rub it all over yourself and you'll get top dollar for it.
Steve, what do you think's going to happen if I rub it all over myself?
I don't know. Won't you
You call me greasy? You call me gross?
The edges?
I'm not. I'll hold it proper. I'll leave it in put it in a case.
Oh, in a case. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's not what you said. You said I'm going to rub it all over myself.
What was the first thing I said? Because I know if that was the second.
Paulie, for what it's worth, that guy who commented the thing that you texted us about, he's like insufferable and only comments obnoxious things that make me want to quit my job. So don't take that one too personally.
Yeah, that guy's trolling me.
Yeah, no, that guy.
What did he say?
Just rock, the term rock bottom.
I don't think you sent that to me.
No, he did.
Oh, I got you.
Oh, is it Rosie's birthday?
A couple days ago.
Dang.
No, I would subscribe. That's not gay. That's being a bro.
Yeah, that's showing support.
Yeah,
that's like buying your friend's crappy album because he wants to be
Steve
a musician.
if Steven started an OnlyFans, I'd follow him too. I'd subscribe because I'm a bro.
Okay, then.
Would you buy my content, though? Or would you just subscribe?
No, I just subscribe. I'm not going down that rabbit hole.
Well, I'm just saying, like, I need a little more income.
Maybe your feet pick, but that's about it.
Yeah, I'm out. See, thanks, Mike.
Hey,
supporting
thanks,
your
Mike.
friend's new business is also being a good friend.
Nice of Mike to show up for work.
So I was literally flipping out at the desk because there was a lot of context left out of the conversation that was being had without me there. It wasn't a delay. It was a schedule miscommunication.
Well, he shouldn't have those. He had a major one already in his life.
Well, you've done stuff before.
I have.
All right, so I'm thinking Jean Django Reinhardt is an early contender for Artist of the Day tomorrow.
John Jacob Jingleheimer Schmidt? What's Jordan's
Or
business?
Danny Federici.
Jen, please, you don't need to know what we were talking about. It's not a real business. I don't feel like.
Shout out to Jen though, because Jen's like gung-ho. Jen's like, I will support Jordan's business, and I respect and appreciate that. But this isn't a real business I'm going to open. Yeah.
He's going to sell corn dogs stuffed into ranch chicken. Right.
Dude, that's a good idea though.
No, you didn't.
Go to Cookout. For
Just
your
go
two
back in the
sides on
chat. You'll
tray,
figure out what
you
it
get
is.
the chicken wrap and you get a corn dog, and then you. I don't want to say it again now. Now the big decision is: are you getting a drink? Or are you getting the float? Are you getting a shake? Like, I want to go to Cookout now.
I'm going to bring you some home. It'd be a little cold by then, but it'll freeze.
You think I'm kidding? If you brought me like food, I would heat it up and eat it, no matter how gross it is.
Grab it to the roof of my car and it'll freeze on the ride home.
All right, we're gonna have like a minute.
ESPN 97.7 and 100.1. Watch live on QSportsTalk.com.
Parents just don't understand, Steve. This is a song you probably could not relate to at all because you were a wholesome good boy. Your artist of the
Love this song.
Yeah, I know. I'm sure you stole
did
the
you
parents'
come up with
This
options?
song's all about stealing a parent's car, and you don't even understand it.
Did you come
the
up with
Spice
options?
Girls? Not yet. I got them right now.
Oh, I thought I was doing it.
No, I always
Paulie's
do.
got it. Go. We got a minute.
Spice Girls,
He's gonna...
Tiffany, Boy George, and how about Milli Vanilli?
So I want you guys all to know what Paulie did is he went to the website and just read the first three down on the right side. There's a whole list, Steve. We've been deprived this whole time. The Pointer Sisters could have been up for grabs. Leonard Skinner could have been up for grabs. Kesha could have been there.
Do you know what the right side is, Steve, Jordan? It's the biggest news. The
Featured
biggest
events.
of the bigs. Yes, there
I'm
you
going.
go.
We're running out of time here, guys. I'm going Boy George.
I'm going Milli Vanilli.
I have to download the songs. I'm going Boy George, too, because New House Afternoon starts in 2 seconds.
All right, we got to go. Enjoy the night, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow.